Hello, crafty friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm revisiting one of my all time favorite techniques. Well, it's been a long time since I last used it, so I'm really excited to share this with you. I'm creating a vibrant and colorful Christmas card featuring the embossed resist technique. We'll be doing some ink blending over these beautifully heat embossed snowflakes to create a bold and festive card front. Before we dive in, I'd really appreciate if you could take a moment to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell icon so that you never miss a new video. Let's start with the stamp set that we will be using for our project today. This is the brand new Holiday Bits and Bobs set by Stacey Park, which was just released in collaboration with Sizzix. Now, in one of my recent videos, I shared an overview of this wonderful new release. So, if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check it out for a closer look at all the fun festive products that are included in the collection. Now, this holiday bits and bobs stamp features some fun ornament style of images that would be perfect for your Christmas or holiday themed cards. For today's card, I'll be stamping and heat embossing several of these images to create a beautiful snowflake inspired background. Well, it's not just these images. The sentiment on the set are absolutely stunning. What really drew me to the stamp set was the font used on the sentiment. It's such a delicate and elegant style, very much my vibe. I actually love this so much that I've already created over 10 cards using just the sentiments from this one set. So I started by placing my panel inside the Sizzix stencil and stamp tool. The grid sheet you see here on the platform has a light adhesive backing, which helps hold the paper securely in place. This feature is especially useful when you're ink blending with layering stencils. It's just the right amount of tack to keep both the panel and the stencils from shifting. Now, to begin with, I'll stamp my sentiment which says, "Believe in the magic of Christmas." Isn't that such a beautiful and thoughtful sentiment? Now, before stamping, I placed the grid transparency sheet over my panel to make sure everything was properly aligned. I stamped the sentiment on the lower right hand quadrant using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. This ink gives a rich, crisp impression and is perfect when you're planning to heat emboss or add black embossing powder. Don't forget to use your anti-static powder tool every time you're heat embossing on your panels. Now, I used my black embossing powder here, but if you are stamping with your VersaFine Onyx black ink, you could also use clear embossing powder over it, but I feel the black embossing powder gives a more crisp result. I like to use a plain printer paper for catching all of that embossing powder. I also prefer using coffee filter, but well, this time I think I just had a plain printer paper in hand, so that's the reason I'm using that. Now, once I poured the heat embossing powder, I made sure I don't have any stray embossing powder adhered anywhere to the panel other than the stamped image. I then heat embossed the sentiment, being careful to keep my heat gun moving constantly to avoid any warping of the paper. Once the sentiment was set, I returned the panel to the stamp platform and stamped all of the delicate snowflake images using clear watermark ink. This time, instead of black, I opted for a gorgeous fine gold embossing powder to bring in a warm festive shine. After applying the powder, I heat set the image again, making sure that I kept the heat gun moving so that the panel does not warp and the powder wouldn't overmelt. I realized a bit too late that I hadn't hit the record button while stamping the snowflakes. You'll see me start recording again once I grabbed my heat gun. That's when I noticed my camera wasn't on, so I don't have the footage where I show how I placed all of these snowflakes onto the panel and did all the stamping and pouring of the gold embossing powder. Now, since these snowflakes cover almost the entire panel, I will make sure that the heat gun keeps moving so that the panel does not warp. Also, these images are really delicate, so overheating or the excess heat might overmelt the powder. Once all the heat embossing was complete, I gave my panel a minute or so to cool down completely before moving on to the next step. Now for my absolute favorite part, which is adding ink to create that vibrant, colorful background. I place my panel onto my magnetic glass mat and using the magnets which will hold the panel in place while I ink blend. Now, while you can place your magnet in that tacky surface of your stamp tool, I prefer having the freedom to move the panel around when I'm ink blending. It just gives me more control over the color placement. Now, for this project, I chose a mix of blues and purples, which is a color combination that I absolutely adore. This blend of cool tones gives the card such a magical feel. The beauty of this embossed resist technique is that the heat embossed image will resist all that ink. So don't worry, you won't lose any of that gorgeous gold shine on your snowflakes. In simple terms, embossed resist involves heat embossing a design that repels ink, whether you're ink blending or watercoloring. The embossed areas stay clean and crisp, standing out beautifully against that colored background. Now, for ink blending here, I didn't follow any strict plan when applying my blues and purples. I just let the colors flow and had fun with it. And honestly, I'm in love with how this turned out. I would definitely give it a try in more color combinations and maybe a little more festive colors with some beautiful shades of reds or maybe even greens. Let me know in the comments down below what are your favorite holiday color combinations or color choices that you prefer to use when you're creating holiday cards. For the area around the sentiment, I used the leftover ink on my blending brush to lightly add a bit of color. I didn't want to leave that area stark white, but I also kept it soft to let that sentiment remain the focal point. Once the ink blending was complete, I took my microfiber cloth and gently buffed away any of that excess ink sitting on top of the embossed images. This step helps lift any residual ink that may have settled on the embossing uh, image, and the results are absolutely stunning. The gold embossing truly pops against that rich blend of purples and blues, creating a striking and elegant finish. I added some foam tape to the back of the panel to give it a bit of a dimension and adhered it to a top folding A2 size white card base. Now I forgot to mention earlier, but I had trimmed this panel down to 4 by 5¼ inches before starting ink blending. Now I love the look of that clean white border around the card front. It really helps frame the design. And of course, what's a festive card without a little sparkle? To finish off this card, I added a few gold sequences at the center of each of those snowflakes. The gold sequins perfectly complement the gold embossing and, well, tying everything together beautifully. I absolutely love how this card turned out. Well, I truly enjoyed putting this card together, and I hope you loved watching the process just as much as I did creating this project for you guys. The embossed resist technique continues to be one of my absolute favorites, and it's such a simple yet impactful way to create beautiful backgrounds with so much more visual interest. From such delicate gold heat embossed snowflakes to those rich blend of blues and purples and the bold sentiment that anchors the whole thing together, every element came together to create this beautiful and elegant festive Christmas card. And of course, those little gold sequences that added a perfect touch of shine and sparkle to finish off this card. Now, if you've never tried embossed resist before, I highly recommend giving it a go. Whether you're using ink blending, watercolors, or even ink sprays, it always results in something unique and eye-catching. And the best part, you can easily customize it with your favorite colors, or, well, it works absolutely wonderfully with any theme. Now, all the supplies that I used to create this card will be found linked in the description box below. Please note that all of these links are affiliate links, which means that if you shop using one of my links, I get a small commission at no cost to you guys. Also, don't forget to check out the new Stacey Park collection by Sizzix. It's absolutely stunning for all your fun Christmas and holiday themed project. Thank you again for joining me today. Until next time, stay safe.